Warden Ray J. Garcia of the Dublin Federal Correctional Institution in California is caught with nude photos of female inmates in his all-female facility on his government-issued phone. As my sheriff likes to say, folks, you just can't make this stuff up. What is he doing? He's also alleged to use candy canes as sex toys with certain female inmates in prison cells and in prison bathrooms that he knows do not have cameras. What a way to lose your high-paying job, and you know California wardens make big bucks. Oh, he's not alone. 4 prison officials also at the prison are being charged for sexual abuse. 2 of them have already pled guilty, which tells you what? They're probably going to testify against Warden Garcia in return for a lower sentence. I think that Warden Garcia needs to maybe consider just pleading out to some of these things for a lower sentence, because I think, you know, we know you have the photos on your phone, so that's going to be a crime right there already, having those inmates' photos nude on your phone. And then he allegedly took photos of himself to show to the inmates where he's nude, and photos of his penis to show to some of the female inmates. That'll all come out in the court to see if he can be charged with 7 counts of sexual abuse. It doesn't look good for him. And this is one of those cases where you can't say, oh, the female inmates are just making this up to get you in trouble. Kind of hard to say you're making some of this stuff up when your government-issued phone, your warden's phone, has pictures of these inmates nude on the prison compound. How'd they get on your phone, warden? Some sick people. And this stuff goes on more than you think, folks. Also, this prison is the same prison where Lori Laughlin Huffman was at. You remember her story. I think she was helping her child, I'm not sure, with college funds, or getting her into college illegally or something, or faking the test, or paying for her to pass her college test. But of course, I don't believe this warden would approach her for some of these favors, because she is highly publicized and wouldn't stand for it, I'm sure. But I don't know if she was even there during his time. He was warden for a short minute. He was warden for a year, from like 2020 to 2021, and now just yesterday they announced his trial is going to begin. Very sick when you have people in high positions doing this type of stuff. We had a warden at Polk Correctional that would take his state-issued vehicle and drive it to Saddle Creek Park here in Polk County, Florida, and have sex in that state vehicle with male prostitutes at the park. One of them told on him, and an undercover agent went out and they busted him and arrested him. You know, titles don't always mean that the person with the title is an honest person. Doesn't always mean that the person with the title is going to do the right thing. If you wear a title of officer, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, major, colonel, assistant warden, warden, you need to uphold your oath and make things respectable for our profession. I've had a lot of stories lately of bad things going on in corrections, you know. The abuse case in New Jersey, the abuse case that I just put up the other day, where Georgia had an inmate beaten severely by several officers, and now this is not helping the profession. You say, well, why are you doing a YouTube on it then? Why are you publicizing it? Because I fight corruption. That's my thing. I've written books on corruption. I've investigated corruption, and I've tried to stop corruption. But corruption keeps popping up on us, and it's not a good thing. Another reason is this is true prison stories. So I tell good stories and bad stories. I tell the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because if you want to really be truthful about what goes on behind prison walls, you have to tell all the stories. You want to tell one-sided ones, everything's great and happy and hunky-dory, go ahead. Or you can be one-sided and say everything's terrible and everybody's corrupt, which is false. There's a lot of hard-working, honest officers out there. The majority, the vast majority are. But I'm not a one-sided guy. I'm going to tell it all. And if you're on my channel, you're on my channel because you want to hear it all. If you want to hear one-sided stuff, you'll have to go somewhere else because I'm telling it all. These wardens that I just described are sick. They got some real problems. They used their position of power to gain sexual favors. Or at least the first warden did, Ray Garcia of California. You know, he was using these candy canes and inserting them in the vaginas as a sex toy and then sucking them out of the female inmate's vagina. And he told them, you know, when he showed them pictures of him nude, I want to, quote, fuck you. He also said what he wanted to do to them. Now, this is sick, folks. That's a very sick person. And it's a shame that there was 4 other officials somehow involved in this. Now, prison officials. We're not talking about frontline folks. Which leads me to say, when a frontline officer sees something like this and they know what's going on, what do? You're supposed to report it. That's your duty. You took an oath. But what do you do when it's your warden and you think, if I report this and he doesn't get investigated and he doesn't lose his position as warden, I'm going to be looked at. And I'm going to be maybe in jeopardy of losing my job. It's a tough thing. You're supposed to report it. I can actually understand why some may be hesitant, though, if it's the warden. Terrible when you're head person, and it happens more than you think. I've investigated several wardens that are in my book, Corruption Behind Bars, here in Florida. We have got to stop this business, folks. The inmates even knew it was going on. They called it Garcia's Rape Club. So if the inmates had a nickname for the warden Garcia, Garcia's Rape Club, you know some other staff had to know this was going on, probably very afraid to report it, or threatened that if they did report it, they would lose their job. We have got to fight corruption, folks. And I'll continue to fight it in any way I can or any way I can help. Thank you very much, Gary York, True Prison Stories. Please subscribe.